All right, welcome to lesson 4.4. This is part 1. There are 2 parts to this. I'm going to try to do it all in one go. This is proportional and non-proportional situations, and the objective is that I can distinguish between proportional and non-proportional situations. So we're going to look at proportionality in graphs, in tables, and equations, and see if we can figure out the patterns. All right, so in graphs, something is proportional if it's a straight line and it goes through the origin. For example, this graph right here. This is a straight line. And it goes through the origin, or 0. So this is proportional. It can be linear and non-proportional if it's also a straight line, but does not go through the origin. It goes anywhere else. So here we have a straight line. But it crosses here, which is not the origin. So this is non-proportional, but it is still linear because it's a straight line. So that's the key difference, origin versus no origin. All right, let's look at a table. If something is proportional in a table and you divide y by x, you get a constant rate. You get the same thing. So if we do 1 divided by 5, 8 divided by 40, and 13 divided by 65, we should get the same thing. Let's try. 1 divided by 5 is 0.2. 8 divided by 40 is 0.2. 13 divided by 65 is 0.2. Notice, same number popping up. It's constant, means it is proportional. Let's look at if it's not constant. So it's linear and non-proportional if it's not a constant rate. If we do y divided by x and we get different numbers every time, it's not proportional. So here we have 30 is y, 2 is x, and 30 divided by 2. We do 90 divided by 8, and we'll do 150 divided by 14. 30 divided by 2 is 15. 90 divided by 8 is 11.25. Notice we already have different numbers here. 150 divided by 14 is 10.71. And there's more decimals there. I'm going to ignore them. So because we get different numbers every time, this is non-proportional. All right, so there's part 1. Let's flip it over and do part 2 real quick. Now we're going to look at equations. All right, proportionality in equations. It is proportional if there's a y-intercept of 0, as in there is no y-intercept. So we would see something that looks like y equals mx. There's no b because there's no y-intercept. It crosses at 0. Anything plus 0 doesn't change it, right? Whereas if it's linear and non-proportional, we have the y equals mx plus b. There's a number here. Quick reminder that equations can have alternative variables in place of x and y. So you're going to see some non-x and y variables. Here's our first equation. We have y equals 3.6x. Does this look more like a proportional equation or a non-proportional equation? Well, it doesn't have plus or minus anything, so this must be proportional. Let's look at our next one. We have y equals 8 minus 13x. It's a little confusing because it kind of looks like this, but x, or the variable, isn't out front. We could rearrange it to be out front. We could rearrange this to be y equals negative 13x plus 8. That looks a lot more like that. But because we have something being multiplied and an other number without a variable, it is non-proportional. It's got these 2 pieces versus just the one multiplication piece. All right, here we have n equals 450p. Is that proportional or not? It doesn't have a y and it doesn't have an x, but it doesn't have an addition either. It kind of looks like this format. There's a letter out front, an equal sign, something times a variable. So I'm going to say this is proportional because it's not adding or subtracting anything at the end. All right, lastly, we have D equals 65t plus 7. Same deal. We have a variable equals something times a variable plus another number. So this is going to be non-proportional. Notice how everything on your page is lined up. Everything on this side is proportional. Everything on this side is non-proportional, so you can clearly see your examples. If you flip it back to our other notes page, again, proportional, non-proportional. Easy to see what goes where. Go ahead and jump into your practice. Let me know if you have questions.